than what it means to have a quality of life, we've accomplished something. And it's not easy. I want you to know, all of you as direct support professionals, what my thought is about all of you. You are where the rubber meets the road. You're where the needle touches the phonograph record. You are where the pen is put to paper. Everything else is secondary. You know, I can come to an agency like Tucson Residential. You have an executive director with Bob Benetti, who's highly respected across the state. He may even have a national reputation. You have a board of directors that is very committed to your organization. IT people that are outstanding. You have QA folks that do an excellent job. You have a training department that is really superior. You have maintenance folks that do a great job in making sure that the physical plants look great. And then I come into a home and I see a staff come up behind somebody who uses a wheelchair and start pushing them as if they are a wheelbarrow full of manure, never bothering for us to say, "Hey, Bill, you ready to go to the dining room?" Who cares about Bob Benetti? Who cares about your board of directors, your QA, QI, IT, or the human resources department? Do we all understand that the only reason we have all of those things I just stated is to assure that the defining moment is exemplary, and you are the defining moment? On Thursday, when I go to coach, there's only one thing I'm going to be looking at, and that's the staff. That's it. How do they connect? How do they emotionally connect? You know, and I just recently thought about this. You have two groups of people. You have people who see themselves as direct care. And historically, and maybe still in the state of Arizona, they refer to staff as direct care. And then you have people who see themselves as direct support professionals, DSPs. I see those as two very distinct and different groups. Direct care staff focus on doing the right thing. Direct care staff focus on doing the right thing. Direct support professionals focus on doing things right. You see the difference? Yeah, because direct care staff, they're there. They're influenced by the policy, the procedure, the rules, the regulations, and what their supervisor tells them to do. Whereas direct support professionals, they're driven by the human spirit. They know how to emotionally connect. They know how to bond with people. And you know, you all have policies, rules, and regulations. We have no policy with regarding the quality of life. If this room was filled with the surveyors from the state of Arizona, I would say, you don't care whether people have a life or not. That's what I would tell the surveyors. But don't blame them. They're required under law to follow the regulation. There is no regulation for having a life. Regulations may keep some bad things from happening. You may have a regulation that says water temperatures does not exceed 110 degrees. That may keep somebody from getting scalded. So policies may keep some bad things from happening. Good people cause good things to happen. And you're good people. And if you leave here today thinking that your supervisor is going to do anything different than they have ever done before, you got a long way, folks. Don't be leaving here today thinking that somebody else is going to make some changes in your organization. Don't be that victim. If it's to be, it's up to me. And I'm going to give you a basket. We're going to put tools in the basket. And when you leave here today, you've got a decision to make. What am I going to do with the tools in the basket? And you can turn around and blame, you know, your supervisor, the director of residential services, the executive director, whatever. I have a name for those people. I call them victims. If it's to be, it's up to me. Well, I use a lot of maxims. And by the way, I'm going to sit down from time to time, so I'm not too professorial with you. I use a lot of maxims. Pithy little phrases that concretize complex concepts. Like, take what you can get. Somebody said, hey, Tom, some of the folks may come in a little bit later because they had to, you know, support people who are getting on a bus or bad weather. I said, no problem. I said, I take what I can get closest to what I want. That's a maxim. Take what you can get closest to what you want, right? Well, one of the maxims I have been using for many, many years, is the following. An institution is not a place. It is a state of mind. An institution is not a place, it is a state of mind. And Bob, do you still have state-operated developmental centers? Okay. One, okay. And there, what's the name of the place, Bob? Do you know? Coolidge? Coolidge? Like in the dam. Yeah, they're all backed up there, like the water in the dam, right? Coolidge. And the people who work at Coolidge, they're lying to you. They're saying when people leave Coolidge, they're moving to the community. Honest, that's what they're saying. They're moving to the community. It's a lie. You can't move to the community. The community is not a place. You can't find it. You can't locate it. You got to create it. By the way, that's a test question. How are you going to do? You're going to be okay? Let's do it again. When the people leave Coolidge, they're lying to you. They're saying they're moving to the community. You can't move to the community. The community is not a place. You can't find it. You can't locate it. You got to create it. The community is relationships and connections. And the vast majority of all of you in this room know the truth. When people leave Coolidge, for the vast majority of them, they're merely moving from one institution to another. The only difference is the one they're moving into has fewer people than the one they just moved out of. They may have moved out of a place that had over 100 people to a home where there's only 2 more housemates, but it's an institution. And you could put wallpaper borders on the bedroom walls to match the throw pillows on the bed. You can put a lovely floral centerpiece on the dining room table. You can get a plasma-colored television set, 62-inch, and stick it on the wall. You may be fooling some of the people in QA or surveyors, but you're not fooling yourself. You understand what a home is versus an institution. There are even people, and you may think I'm making this up, when they move to that home with 3 or 4 people, they even name it after the street. No, there are people who do this. They think I'm making this up. They'll call it the Oak Street Group Home. What is that? I mean, it's the craziest thing you ever heard of. Coolidge has a name because it's the same reason they do that there. By the way, they could say it's the home on Oak Street. I live on Wellsbrook Drive. I don't live at the Wellsbrook Drive home. My home doesn't have a name. Corey, what street do you live on? You don't know. Okay. Linda. Take a look at your driver's license. Linda, what street do you live on? Laguna. Linda, the next time somebody comes up to you and says, well, where do you live? Tell them that you live at the Laguna home. Oh, they let you out for this afternoon. No, they're going to come and pick you up a little later. They're going to take you back. But no, that's just reflects. Do you ever hear people say, somebody comes back to their home after an evening doing something, this dad says, did you have fun on your community outing tonight? Let's make sure we have a vehicle available for this weekend for the community trip. And hey, we're all going to go to the community. When was the last time you went home on a Friday night and said to your kids, okay, kids, we're all going to the community tonight? Who talks this way? Well, you understand why staff do that, I'm assuming, right? Are you getting that? No, I'm really saying, do you understand? Even though that home or that apartment looks like it's physically integrated, the people who work there know that these folks are not part of their community. Why else would they say that? Of course. No, I mean, I'm being serious. They're not part. They're in the community, but they're not of the community. There's a huge difference, okay? You can be in it, but not of it. Okay, here we go. How can people have a life if they don't participate in it? It's a straightforward question. And I have an answer. You can't. And the vast majority of the people who we support, the staff who support them, have made a decision for them not to participate in their lives. Now, make sure you understand the words that I'm using. The staff have made a decision for them not to participate in their life. I'm glad that was a decision, because if it's not, then they couldn't change their mind to have them participate. So what you will see in the vast majority of instances is the staff are with someone in the agency vehicle or van, and they need to get gas. Guess who pumps it? The staff. Somebody has a dentist appointment. Guess who makes it? The staff. Tom, he can't talk. Can you take the doggone phone, set it down, put it on speaker, talk to the receptionist? Can they participate at some level in that process? Of course, but the staff have made a decision that they don't want them to participate. And these are not mean-spirited staff. They have a supervisor. The supervisor knows exactly what's going on in that house, and the supervisor has a supervisor. And the supervisor, hey, Bob, you know where this is going, don't you? Okay. So how can people have a life if they don't participate in it? And for the vast majority of all the folks who we support, as you will see, if you don't agree with me now, I think you will by 4 o'clock, they participate in their life minimally. That's why they don't have a life. And we can change it. That's up to us. And I'll give you the strategies on how we do that. The surveyors don't care. By the way, don't go to sleep on me here. Stay up. Come on. I'm going to give you everything I got. Now you notice, some of you are going to write down, Tom was really loud and he shouted at us. Do you want this to sound like an OSHA training? I mean, is that what you want? No, I can promise I can get you to sleep by 10:15. I can knock you'll be heads on the table if that's what you want. Okay, so, because somebody's going to write, and then see my wife. She gets all these evaluations first. They come into my office. She looks at it before I get home. She has a yellow marker, and she highlights stuff. It's never the positive stuff. It's on, and she hands the ones to me. The ones with the yellow markings are always on the top. She hands it to me. Haven't we talked about this before? You've been yelling at those people, I guess. Okay, yes. No. Okay, so there we go. So, getting a life is not a magical process. I wish I were like a magician, and I had a bag of props and tricks, and I had a magic wand, and I could hand you all a magic wand and go over your head, over the heads of other people, and they have a life. Well, getting a life is not a magic, even though so many of you in here are very young. There's a number of you who have been around the barn a few times, right? I mean, you may only, you understand that metaphor, right? Is you may only be 22, 24, 25, but you know how tough it is to get a life. Now, having said that, all of us in this room have our mental health. We're physically capable. We're intelligent. Imagine somebody, and you know how tough it is to get a life. Imagine somebody removing the majority of your intellectual capabilities. Imagine that you had limited range of motion or you had to use a wheelchair. Imagine that you have significant psychiatric overlay and mental health issues. Now go get a life. And now imagine that the people who are supporting you haven't figured out what they need to do in order to help you get a life. Just think about that. Which I'm going to drill down on that and talk about that in detail. So, it's not a magical process. Where's the struggle? Getting a life is found within us, not within the people we support. Their problem is not their disability. It's us. We cause the handicap. The disability is their pathology, the damage in their brain perhaps. The handicap is the resulting impairment that they experience because people have made a decision that they're not going to make modifications in the environment. By the way, how many homes do you think I go to where people use a wheelchair and they won't even lower the closet bar in their bedroom? How much money could it cost to lower a closet? They won't even lower it. And no one will speak up and say anything. But you got these people running around, rights, they got rights, they all have rights, yeah, but they won't lower their closet. So the struggle is found within us. What's this struggle look like? It's the difference between seeing ourselves as a parent to the people we support versus a partner. We hire people who are parents. We don't hire people to be parents. We have enough mother hens. We hire people who are capable of being a partner to the people we support. When I hear somebody say, I just love the people I support, the people I work with, my response is, your love is not enough. My wife was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer 6 years ago now. Stage 1 is the lowest level. She's doing just fine. She had surgery. I remember my wife and I going to the oncological surgeon. And the surgeon is describing the protocol that they're going to use for the surgery. And my wife says, how many of those surgeries have you conducted? And the surgeon says, about 1,700 of these surgeries. Whoa. My wife says, well, what has been the result? The surgeon said about 1,200 of my patients have died on the operating table. Another 150 of them have died within the first 30 days after the surgery. And there are a few who still have survived. But the surgeon went on to say, I want you to know that I love my patients. By the way, that's not true. I just made all that up. Hey, guys, I have to. If what I say is not memorable, it won't be remembered.